Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ticker Talk for Wednesday, September 21st. We've had a big day, frustrating day, disappointing day. We'll get into that in a bit. But first, we'll just as always go through our disclaimer. Whoops. All right, everything we do here is for educational purposes only. We're not investment advisors and do not provide investment advice. All statements made here are my own personal opinions and not to be considered advice to buy or sell any security. And all trading investment decisions are your own and done at your own risk. So I think everybody here knows who I am. I'll just skip right through that slide. And we're going to move into looking at the, so we'll take a look at the markets. Obviously, we're going to talk about the Fed today. We'll run over that quickly. Got some good buddies online here. So if you guys have anything to add, feel free to drop in and we can get a conversation going. So we'll start with the major indices. We'll look at the volatility index. We'll look at the 10-year yields, and we'll look at the dollar index, all of which were quite interesting today, and in some ways a lot more bullish. A couple of these were more bullish than the actual indices and stocks were. We'll look at some of the sectors. Certainly, there's nothing setting up on the long side. So let's get right into it. I actually want to start today. I want to look at the S&P 500, but I want to start with the intraday chart. So you can see we open over here, and basically we chopped around sideways all day long, and until, guess where the Fed announcement is? Can anybody guess where that is? Yeah, it's this big red bar right here, or actually, yeah, it was the red one. So that's where they announce and release the probably weren't ideal. One of them was they are expecting now to raise rates somewhere. So by the end of 2023, they're expecting to raise rates about 25 basis points to 50 basis points more than we were expecting. We were also expecting them to stop raising rates, sometime in around early second quarter of 2023. And they're now talking about going late into 2023 with their rate increases and not having a rate decrease until 2024. So that was new, and so that didn't surprise me. Once I saw that, I understood why we have this big red bar. There was also they also increased the unemployment rate that they expect by about 0.5%. I think it went from 3.9 to 4.4 is what they're expecting the unemployment rate to peak out at. And so that's a little higher too. So that indicates that the recession that we're either in or is almost definitely coming now, it may be a little worse than expected. And there is no talk of a soft landing or anything like that. So yeah, the rate statement was fairly hawkish in itself. I didn't think terrible, but I think the market was really hoping that they might throw us a bone, that they might be a little dovish, right? And they certainly were not in the rate statement. Okay, so we dropped down a whole bunch. We chopped around a little bit. It was good to see that it didn't actually, it came down, it tested, and it stayed in that area. It didn't really break these lows, right? And then at would be this big green bar right here. This is where Jay Powell's press conference started. And he always starts, for about 20 minutes or so, he reads a prepared statement. And the market obviously liked what he had to say in his prepared statement. And it wasn't until he'd finished his prepared statement and we got into some of the questions that you can see we got a lot more volatile in here. It couldn't go up any higher, but weren't going any lower. And it wasn't until he finished speaking right in around here, that the market just gave them the ghost. Basically, they started selling, and the selling accelerated right into the close. And you can see after the close, we continued down a little bit more. And I'm looking at the futures now. Actually, why don't we pull this up? This is the S&P 500 futures that are currently open. And you can see how, we've just continued down, and we seem to be consolidating down here. Hopefully this is where we, kind of draw the line now. So, oops, that's the futures. We'll look at the SPYs. SPYs usually normally look at here. So, all right. So here is the S&P 500, the SPY ETF, and you can see this day today. So we went up earlier in the day, right? We went up and basically got above Monday's high, which was quite bullish. And then, of course, we gave it all back. We've, essentially got a bearish engulfing candle here. Got closed well below all these three lows. This is a very, very bearish candle. The only positive I can find in this candle is that it's come down and stopped right about the 0.786 retracement from the low to this high. But we've crashed through all of the other Fibonacci levels. Well, actually, I shouldn't say crashed through. We did manage to hold the 618 retracement for quite a while, but we also had, other reasons to hold as support right there. All right, so where do we go next? Unless there's some major catalyst overnight and we have a big reversal, a really nice big green candle tomorrow, I think it's a pretty safe bet we're heading lower. Now, you can see we've got support here in around 370. Do we stop there? I don't know, maybe, hopefully. But, it's really hard to say at this point. This is going to reverberate through the markets for a while, right? There's going to be shockwaves from this. And, to a large degree, a lot of charts are broken, and we'll see that actually when we look at some of the FAANGs in a little bit. So it's if I had to put money on it, if we don't reverse in the next 2 days, and retake, at least get inside of this, I think we will be going down and testing these lows at around 362, the June lows, and we may even cut that. To cut through here, everybody capitulates. The world comes to an end, and all of a sudden we turn around and we go back up, and we continue all the way up, and then we get above that high there, and that'd be the end of the bear market. Maybe that's what needs to happen. I'm going to take this one day at a time and try not to have any biases. I'm still more intermediate term, bullish, and I think we're going to see the beginning of a really nice rally sometime in the next 2 weeks. The chances of that happening tomorrow, I think, are fairly slim, but within 2 weeks, I still think are really good, and I think that rally will carry us into the end of the year. But for now, things are not looking great. So let's take a quick look at the Qs. It's pretty much the same thing, right? Anything we look at today, it's basically, we're going to be looking at crash corn, big red candles and everything. Again, we've come right down, sitting on top of that 786 retracement, but did break down the lows of the previous days, not quite as badly as the SPY did. And we'll probably have a little bit of really minor support in around 278. I should probably get that line in, I suppose. Around there, actually a little lower than that. That looks better there. Okay, 277 to 278 is where we'll be looking for support on the Qs. And then, of course, you've got the low just below that, the June low just below that. IWM has, been outperforming. You can see that it's broken this trend line. It got below those the 3 lows right there, closed below that today, but in slightly better shape than the other indices. But again, looking to this is going to continue down probably. It will do so if the other indices are going down. This is going to go down too, but it may be the first one to find some support. Let's see what else here. Okay, let's look at the VIX volatility index. So this shot up through this 28 level, 28 area has been really important, as you can see, right? Well, today we shot way up through that. We even got above 30, but we instantly came right back down, which is really interesting behavior. Actually, we should look at that one intraday as well. Look at this, on the announcement, volatility just skyrocketed and then pulled right back down, and under 28, and it fell right off. And this was really quite interesting. I thought quite bullish until it reversed and went higher again. But you can see we're right, closed right in that 28 area. Back to the daily chart on that. So we are a little bit above. This is the highest close on VIX, and since way back here, June 30th. So the highest close on VIX since shortly after June 25th, I believe, was the or 24th was the those lows. Actually, here, let me double check that. Oh, June 17th. Okay, I was off by a week. Oh. That'd probably be that day there, or this one. Okay. Yeah, going way back into June anyway, since we closed this high. But this indecisive candle is somewhat hopeful. Although it really does look like this could continue higher as well. It's definitely an uptrend now. We've got this ascending triangle and it's broken out the top of it. So VIX looks like it might go higher, but there's still a chance that this rolls over and comes down. If that does come down, that'll be good for the market. If it doesn't, we're definitely going up and testing this trend line here at around 32. And we may even very well test these levels up here closer up into getting closer to 40 in the high 30s. And maybe, and that almost definitely happens. If we go down and test those June lows, we're going to be seeing VIX up here in the high 30s. Okay, so here's one of the most interesting things today. You can see the 10-year yield went up, made a new high, and then closed down. It's a gravestone doji. This is a bearish candle right here at the end of an uptrend. So what's really interesting is, most people consider the bond traders, the bond market, to be the smart money. And the bond market prices in a lot of these rate increases and whatnot. And to see the 10-year yield come down after this announcement is really, really interesting. And we should look at this one intraday as well. So right here, you can see on this big gap up, this is the announcement at 2 o'clock. And it went up, it stayed up here for 10 minutes, and then it started to fall. And it continued to fall all day long. By this time, the market was falling by the close here on the bond market. So I find this really interesting, and I'm not sure what to make of it, because this is telling us that the bond market isn't that concerned about increasing rates. And yet the stock market is telling us it is very concerned about increasing rates. So maybe what's going on here, maybe the stock market is not actually concerned about rising interest rates. The stock market is more concerned, and maybe what we saw happen later in the day, and we're now seeing after hours, is the stock market is pricing in a deeper, more serious recession than we were expecting. That may be what's going on. And if that's what's happening, I think that the market will get over it. If we, we've just finished earnings season, but we're not that far from the next earnings season. If we can see some half decent reports come along, maybe early in earnings season, that could be a catalyst that sort of puts this little market, the market's little temper tantrum behind us. So yeah, maybe slightly hopeful action here in bonds. The dollar index, on the other hand, though, let me bring this over. All right, you can see the dollar index went up a whole bunch and closed near its high. It broke out of this little consolidation we had been looking at and hoping that it wouldn't break out of. And now this has made a new high. So I'm just going to actually move that down to there now, kind of highlight that consolidation a little better. There we go. Okay. So now we got new highs in the dollar index. As always, we really want to see this pull back, not go up. As long as this is going up, we're going to have trouble with our equities. All right, gold. Whoops. Here. Gold consolidating at the lows here. We've got some support down there. It's messy though, and this kind of consolidation you normally expect to see break to the downside. Silver had silver was up a lot, and it broke out of this range earlier today. So this little red candle at the very end is the after hours, and this green candle here is today's price action. And you can see that we've been watching for a bull flag here. That actually has turned into a sideways consolidation that it tried to break out of today. Just going to adjust my lines here because I still like this. We talked about this on the weekend for potential trade. Probably want to see this. If we're going to play a breakout on this, we probably want to see it break out up here, not here, right? Let's get that. So, because of that candle today, I probably want to not, I probably wouldn't play it until it breaks out the upper, that upper line right there. Okay, copper, I don't think there was much going on in copper. But looking like that's going to fail. That is chopping around. I've changed our lines on here, from a channel. We definitely have actually I should get the downtrend in here, shouldn't we? We've definitely got a downtrend going on here, but we've also got what I'm now considering to be fairly major support. We've come down and touched this line or come very close to it a number of times and bounced off it every time. However, we are making a series of lower highs. So this is winding up nicely, and this is getting quite interesting. Not sure where it's going to go from here, but it is worth watching. Our agricultural commodities, they are still in an upward channel. Although looking at have a little bit of overhead resistance within this channel. You can see that resistance level right there. So this is also winding up in a different way, but it's still kind of winding up, getting a little tight in here and looking like it may be ready for a breakout soon. So there's still some interesting stuff going on, but most of the interesting stuff is in commodities. Crude oil is kind of hanging in above the 80 zone. Or really, actually, more accurately, I guess it's like 81.5 to 82. But again, making this downward channel is, it's a really nice looking downward channel. It's making a series of lower highs and lower lows. Maybe it's going to find some support here. Remember, Biden said that they would start refilling the SPR at 80. And so that really puts this floor of $80 under oil. And I think we might be seeing that, we're seeing that in action here, right? Let's see, natural gas. Natural gas, not looking. Some of our other energy ETFs, XLE, not totally breaking down, but looks like it could any day, like tomorrow maybe. XOP, this one had a really nasty candle today, and it did just barely break below that low. I'm guessing probably about the 120 area is the next area we should look for support on that. Let's get that line in. Okay. What else? Oil services. That one looks, ready to break down as well. Big ugly red candle here. Magnolia. So yeah, from the can't catch a break department, I actually said that in the Discord today. This Magnolia oil was doing all right earlier in the day. You can see it actually gapped up and was above the previous day's couple of highs. It was doing nicely up there, and then news came out that it was the CEO was quite sick. Actually, here, let me read this to you or show this to you. Benzinga here. So Magnolia Oil and Gas, Stephen Chazan, who has served as chairman, president, and CEO, that guy's got a lot of jobs, since 2018, will no longer be able to serve in his position due to serious health reasons. Well, yeah, if he's chairman, president, and CEO, he's doing the work of three people. The guy needs to chill. Anyway, he appointed, or someone has appointed, Christopher Stavros as president and CEO. I guess the former CEO is staying on as chairman, but the market didn't like that. The market didn't like that at all, and you can see. We'll go to the intraday chart here. That news came out. What was that? 10:15. Here, right on this one. Oh, it actually came out a little later. I think the news came out earlier, and Benzinga was slow to report it because Benzinga showed it at 10:15, which is like over here. I'm pretty sure that that news came out here, or somebody knew, and insiders knew, and they were selling here. Yeah, that really hurt this stock today. So that one's pretty much toast now. We'll go back to the daily. If anybody's still in this, if you're trying to stay in and this puts in a lower close again tomorrow, you really need to be out. If this doesn't bounce first thing in the morning, and almost need to be out. Pretty much the same thing goes with EQNR. Everybody should probably be out of this by now, but it is kind of hanging in. It's held above the previous 2 days lows, but again had an ugly day today. So that oil trade is definitely on life support if it's not already dead. 10 solar ETF. This one has been a little weak the last couple of days. Not too bad today, actually, surprisingly. However, it's coming into the support area again. And if it starts cutting into this gap, we should expect that gap to fill and, probably come in and looking for support in around the 75 to 76, 77 area. I think this is going to hold unless the market completely falls apart, again tomorrow. Some of the individual companies in there, First Solar that we were watching, we were looking for a breakout of this flag. That didn't really happen. We should probably adjust this flag to more of a sideways consolidation now. But you could still certainly play this for the breakout, but you want to be really there aren't many stocks that look like this. Sunrun. This is one we thought that if the solar space in general gets going, I thought this one would run nicely. This did break out the bottom of this consolidation, but it looks, when it tried to get back in today, and then got whacked by the rest of the market. But we should still keep an eye on this, I think. And finally, in the solar space, we have NFAs, probably the best of the group. Look at this. I mean, you can see it's consolidating up at high still. As bad as today was, it doesn't look so bad on this chart. Well in range of this consolidation. Still really like the look of this, and would still seriously consider playing a breakout of the highs there. All right, our individual sectors. I don't think there's much point in going through all these sectors. They all look the same. They've all got this. This is consumer discretionary, by the way. They've all got this big red candle. They just look bad. I think we'll look at a couple of individual stocks. Meta. Broke down below its lows, making new low. Big red candle, looks to continue lower. Apple, not making new low yet, came down and is so far supporting where it should. But this is an ugly candle. These are tweezers right here, right? And that's a bearish reversal pattern. If Apple can actually turn to the upside, I think Apple, if Apple can turn to the upside tomorrow, I think Apple could single-handedly save this market, especially if it moves strongly to the upside. We had a couple of really nice days, and this, what happened today is quite disappointing. Look at these two beautiful green candles after that hammer candle. It's exactly what you expect to see after a good-looking hammer candle like that. It's just really unfortunate that it couldn't continue today. Amazon making new lows. Looks to continue lower. Netflix was unable. Now you know that we have been watching for a real breakout here, and it just sort of never comes, right? And today it pulled back a little bit, but it didn't pull back that much. Still keeping an eye on Netflix, but it's becoming harder and harder to sort of trust any of these potential breakouts. Google, ugly move down from Google today. More new lows. It just looks to continue lower. And these are like these companies like Google and Facebook, Meta, even Microsoft are if the dollar is going up, because so much of their revenue is foreign, they're going to go down. Because their revenue, with half their revenue denominated in these foreign currencies, so they're just getting weaker and weaker compared to the U.S. dollar. When you convert that back to U.S. dollars, the revenue is shrinking, right? So of course they're going to go down. Microsoft, it broke out to new lows today. Broke through support and closed below it. Not good. We should expect to see more downside out of that. Tesla, another one of the stocks, is a bit of a bright spot. But was down today, but still we've got this support resistance level overhead here is starting to become a little more serious. It's come into this a number of times and been able to get through. However, it's still hanging out near the top of that. Be interesting to see what happens with Tesla tomorrow. Probably comes down a bit, but does it find support at this 200-day moving average and the 21-day moving average? I think it probably will. I think we're going to find some buyers in here. It's around the 295 area. Semiconductors had started off the day great. They were one of the stronger. I mean, look at that. They had a tiny little gap down and moved up strongly. If we look at this one intraday, you can see right out of the gate in the morning, they moved up nicely. They consolidated like the rest of the market did. And then when the market bounced, look how strongly they performed, and they outperformed the market here. We look at, a stock like NVDA. I won't look at all the semis, but, you can see similar price action in this. NVIDIA grinding higher through most of the day until that announcement. And then after, when the press conference started, went up nicely and then just gave it all back, right? Look at the daily on NVIDIA. It's really, really a shame. It looked like semis really wanted to go, and then they just gave it up. What else do we want to look at? The defensives outperformed. They still went down. Everything was red. There were no green sectors today. They still went down, but you can see Staples had gapped up, tried to move much higher, and then finished lower. But Staples was only down 0.38%. And utilities, putting in more new lows here, or recent lows, right? Okay, couple of individual stocks, pins that we've been paying attention to. This is interesting in here, maybe, for a potential setup, perhaps, if it finds support here. We've got the 21-day moving average and this horizontal support line, and it found support there today. If this starts to move higher, this could get interesting. Celsius. It's trying to break this trend line by consolidating sideways, but at least it's only consolidating sideways. All right, so there's a note here from NS. Hey, Kevin, might need to drop off. Wish the ticker talk was 6:30 to 7:30. Okay. Anyways, could you cover CF and HIMS if you have time? All right, let's do that right now. CF Industries. Oh, fertilizers and agriculture. So they must be another potash company. All right. So obviously this had a red day, but not too bad. Beautiful uptrend. All right, let's get this uptrend in here. And, a bit of an accelerated uptrend too. Might as well get that in. Okay, recently made a higher high, but pulled back from it really quickly. And there. All right. So you can see there's kind of this little bit of in a very short term here, this little downward channel. And yesterday it broke out of that. It's kind of, this is sort of like a weird bull flag. It's sort of like, kind of went up. It's like a bull flag at half mast or something. Tried to break out of that yesterday and then pulled back to it. Now, is that going to find support there? I think it probably should. A day like today, everything gets hit. Even the good stocks get hit. So I think this has a chance, unless today is really, or I'm sorry, tomorrow is really horrible. I think this has a chance to go up from here. It's hard. This stock is kind of messy though. It's hard finding clean support and resistance levels on here. It's very wicky, right? See all these really long wicks all over the place. Not a lot of selling wicks. Most of them are buying. Like most of these long wicks are underneath the body of the candle, so we call those buying wicks because they're more bullish. But you can see over here, you can see some of the selling wicks too, right? But in recent price action, don't really see a whole lot of selling wicks. They are more sort of, buying wicks. They're under the under price action. And that nice hammer there, right? We had a lot of hammers from on Monday. So yeah, I think some of these moving averages could act for support as this comes down lower. Obviously, this trend line, do I need to adjust that? Yeah, probably do. No, go there. Okay. This trend line here should probably act as support. And if that one doesn't, then you've got another one just below it. So, and when we looked at the overall agricultural ETF, it was doing well. It was in a nice uptrend channel, right? So, these guys are, if these are fertilizer and agricultural chemicals, they're a supplier of the agricultural industry. So if yeah, I mean, this looks like a pretty decent stock to be in. But, we want to see it move to the upside from here. And I don't really see any reason as sort of reasons outside of its control sort of thing. So yeah, I like this one. And take a look at HIMS. All right, so HIMS is, I guess we can get rid of this trend line. We've got, quite a sideways consolidation going on, although we had in the short term, we had some minor support here, and it seems to have broken down through that. And now can't get back up through it. So here, here, and then it had a beautiful big green candle went up, went up to resistance, and then it kind of fell off again. But now that it's gone down below this support level, it can't get back up through. The upside is, actually, let's straighten out this line. That line's not quite straight. There we go, that's better. Okay. The upside is you've got another support level down below. In fact, maybe I need to adjust this one up. It's like it's almost right on it. Like, you could put that line that I had, you could easily move that up to there. So there's a support area right here, that it's, it's being supported, and then it's just kind of squeezing in here. So that's kind of cool if you're looking for an ad, because playing the breakout of this little tight consolidation is a pretty good move, because it's really tightly risk defined. If you play a breakout, say you play above today's high, for instance, and rolls over, well, you can stop out just below here, because if you get a close below here, it's probably almost definitely going lower. So yeah, I like that, nicely risk defined. As far as I know, this is still a healthy company. The chart looks reasonably healthy. It's just taken a bit of a break right now, consolidating. And considering what the market has done, right, this is a really healthy consolidation. This is outperformance, because if this were the market, it'd be down around here right now, right? So yeah, another good looking one there, and looks like it may be giving you an add point here. Okay, yeah, you're welcome, NS. All right, Shills has asked if we can look at HDCat and TROW. Never heard of TROW. All right, let's start with Home Depot. Oh, and you know what? Before I forget, I'm going to just put myself a note into the chat, because we need to look at. Hey, look, I have Matthew's picture. That's hilarious. I need to look at those for some people in the Discord as well. All right, so Home Depot, big downtrend, result into a big wide consolidation, a tighter consolidation over the last week or so. What is this line? I've got a support level here at 260. It goes way back. Okay, I see where that comes from. All right, yeah, okay. All right, interesting. Yeah, and then another support. If we lose this 260, which I don't think we're gonna, we got another support down there at 247. Okay, so upsides. It has not made or come down and tested that June low yet. But it has kind of, it is testing this level. It wasn't able to get back up through yet. So I think we're going to see more sideways consolidation here. The 260 supports, we're probably going to bounce off of there. And, with any luck by then, the market is going back up too. And this can start a new uptrend. But this is very much a market stock, and I mean, if you compare this to the S&P 500, it looks fairly similar, doesn't it? All right, let's take a look at CAT. Ooh. Resistance level up here. It was early. So that's interesting. Now we're thinking about catching the falling knife, right? This is the sort of price action you want to be looking for if you're going to be doing that. A couple of hammers in a row there, and then followed. Oh, you had one red day. It almost gave you a second chance to get in there, and then followed by a big green candle. Nice move up. However, pullback, hard pullback there. Came up again, just couldn't get through that level and was pulled back hard, and is now making lower high and lower lows. That's not good at all. Especially this candle today is terrible. How much was it down? Yeah, 3.5%. That's a lot for a company like Caterpillar. So coming into the lows, or the support level that goes way back into the past. At where was that? Like 170. This level here. We've got another level down below at about 159. And then we've got this little pivot here. So these, you've got a bunch of lows that you want to watch out for that it might support at, but given just how nasty today's candle looks, I don't hold out a whole lot of support or hope for the first two support levels. This one down here at about 159, probably got a better chance of holding. So if you're looking to add to this, I wouldn't I wouldn't touch this just yet. All right, what's the other one? TROW. Yeah, big long-term uptrend. Yeah, like the forever trend from 2016. Okay. Still holding above that line. But looking like it might want to test that again. That line might get tested tomorrow. But past experience is our guide. It should hold that. And and we also, in this little consolidation, we held this pivot too. So that's hopeful. So yeah, watch out for this series of lows here. And then we've got all this support right here. So that doesn't look too bad. It looks like it should probably bounce. But again, if you're looking for the bounce, yeah, it probably bounces in here. But I'd be really careful about front running this thing or getting in too early, because if this does break, it probably goes down quickly. There's not where do we go from here, right? So if this 106 breaks, then we're easily down to 100. And maybe even lower than that, maybe even down to 94-ish. So yeah, careful in here if these supports start to break. And if you're looking to add, I mean, you could maybe, after a bit of consolidation, maybe add above these highs here. I think it's safer to add up here, but you get a it's not the best price in the world up here at 125 compared to if you're adding here. If you had it here and then had your stop just below the consolidation, that would be a pretty decent trade. Okay, hopefully that is helpful. Let's do square real. Oh, Sergio? Sergio? Hopefully I pronounced your name correctly. Sorry if I did not. So yeah, I asked about Square today in the Discord, and I said I like it if it supports in around this 60 area, and I was kind of thinking it should probably support here and then see a bounce, but it got spanked a little bit by the market today too. Let's get that 60 level in, 60-ish. That's where I wanted that. Okay. Or 59.5. Okay. We can see we supported there a couple of times, and then we've got this pivot low here. Bounces from here. If we get a decisive bounce from here, and then I like it even more if we start breaking through this, 20-day moving average to 50-day moving average, 100, all of which are declining. Don't get me wrong here. This thing is firmly in a downtrend, but we had put in some fairly decent bottoming action. Very similar to the markets as well, of course. But and now it's looking like we're going to retest that. So to me, this is hands off right now until we see a turn up. And O is another one that somebody asked me about privately. Say real estate, a REIT, real estate investment trust, really popular one. This pays a pretty decent dividend. What's the dividend on this thing? Yeah. The dividend yield right now, I guess because it's come down a fair bit here, the dividend yield is 4.75, which is always nice when you're hunting for dividends. Okay, now you can see that this is, this since COVID. I would say we've got pretty strong support in this area. So let's get that drawn in. And here, and off of this area. Yeah. Okay. So this is our support. It should be strong support. We've tested this, on the upside. Actually, here, let's drag that over a bit. As resistance on the way up a few times, and it's acted as support. Pull that 1, 2, 3, 4, and now maybe 5 times. So this line should hold. It had an ugly day today, of course. Maybe this is going to capitulate down through here and then bounce right back up. If you're looking to get in, if this can kind of clear this area a little bit, so maybe above 64, I think that would be a reasonably safe entry, but you'd probably want to stop out below that, because if it breaks below this line, I think it's going to freak some people out. Probably come down into this area, somewhere in around there. So what is that? 55. Okay. Now, it's also a bit of a concern. It's got this weird kind of, upward sloping. This sort of like, ascending triangle kind of thing, or some people might call this a megaphone. That's generally regarded to be a bit of a bearish pattern on that. So yeah, watch out for this area. And if you're looking to get in this, like I said, a decent bounce away from here, and let it get $1.50 or $2 away from here and then get in. Or if this breaks down and comes down into this 55 area, I would be very, very confident buying this in the 55 area. And in fact, if it does, because I probably won't be watching this myself, but let me know if you see this come down into 55. Let me know, because that's probably where I'll be buying it. Okay, actually, you know what I'm going to do? There we go. Whoops. Okay, now I'll get that later. All right, so that was, the Realty Income Group Corp. All right, so Ken has asked for NEO and MAXR. Okay, so NEO had an ugly day today. Just, consolidating sideways still, right? Can't really go up, doesn't really come down. Essentially in a range. This range is widening out though. Volatility is increasing. Not a ton, but and an ugly day today. Oh, over 10%. Wow, that's brutal.
There's hey Kevin. Yeah, there was I think there was some news on Russia today. I think Putin announced something and it kind of tanked all the Chinese stocks.
Yes. Yeah, China did not do well today. I know that BABA was down a lot.
Yeah. And all the Chinese EV stocks were down as well, so NEO was one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm just looking at the news, and I don't see anything specific to NEO. Just that whole Chinese stock thing for today. So I guess when they decide to hit Chinese stocks, they go down 10%.
Yeah, it is always geopolitical.
It's just kind of that's the sandbox you're playing in, and you just got to learn to live with that, right?
Yeah.
But you can see, that is almost, that's almost double the long-term average true range on that, which is at around 6%, right? 6%, and this was just over 10. So, but you know what? I mean, a lot of these big red candles have been followed by either. You can see here, nice. But the market was terrible then too. At least lately, we have not. So that's hopeful for you in this. Breaking out of this downward channel, and it's too bad that we've now come back into the channel. It's obviously not what you want to see usually, right?
Right.
And then if we kind of the bottom of this channel is a lot messier though. Yeah, the top of the channel was fairly clean. I'm gonna try and see. Because maybe, but I mean, this is another 10% down move to get to that pivot there, right?
16, right? 1607.
Yeah, 16 and a half.
Yeah.
And then just below that, you've got some more support. So lots of areas we can see support here. So if you're worrying about this, I wouldn't worry too much. I think it's just more of the China stuff, which is, maybe the whole China thing you should be worried about overall, but fast right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully that helps.
Okay.
You just gotta. It's hard with these. They're just really volatile. You gotta deal with the volatility. MAXR should not be as volatile. However, it's just it got itself.
It got bad. Yeah. One thing I regret was not selling in I think it was around April.
Yeah.
Yeah, like mid-April.
Yeah.
So when it hit 40, I think I should have sold, but I don't know. I got caught. Fell by like 50% since the high.
Yeah. So this is, I think I might have mentioned this to you before about how this is a good lesson in topping up in here. You know, where you got that double top, and when you get this big red candle, you never see anything good after that. But when you get this kind of topping action here, you know, after a nice move up, and then that big red candle, there's always more downside. And even if you're late, you just kind of got. Oh, it's really a shame this couldn't come up. Obviously, we were talking about this needed to get up into this area.
Yeah, we last visited this like last month.
And it couldn't even get close to it. Well, I mean, it got sort of close, but it couldn't get there. And wow, this downward channel in this now is not pretty. However, look at, you know, see how it's supporting at the bottom of the gap? You hear me talking about that all the time, right? You know, how the top and the bottom of a gap will and it was bouncing off that half decently until today. Okay. So what happens if it doesn't support? Oh, geez. Yeah, okay.
It's crazy how this was an $8 stock during COVID. Right, if you look at it all the way back.
Yeah, this thing, I mean, this is a really, I know this stock has only been around for 2018, but it was a different company before then. This company, I remember this company when I was a kid, because they were located not too far from where I live.
Oh, okay. I think they're headquartered in like.
They're a Canadian company. Yeah, they probably have.
Headquartered in Colorado.
I can't remember the name of it.
Oh, you okay, got it.
And they're a company that gets. I mean, at the time, one of those companies, kind of like Bombardier and companies like that, that just survive off of government grants from the Canadian government, right? But they've kind of moved. They've moved out of that phase of their life.
Yeah.
The longest time, that's what they were. You know, corporate welfare kind of company.
I see.
Yeah, I just can't. Yeah, maybe this, 17, 8. Place to look for support.
Right.
But yeah, it's gonna, this one I would say, if the market is going to continue lower, then the beatings in this one are going to continue. Kind of cracks me up. All right. So, yeah, hopefully that was helpful. Quietly and listening.
What's up, Kevin? I'm actually working right now.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, I do have a question. So, I'm holding BABA right now. Long term, just like set it and forget it type of deal. As I'm learning, technical analysis and stuff, I like want to jump out. And I was just trying to see what you thought maybe like a good stop would be.
Sorry. One sec.
I'll pull it up right now too, so I can look at it. So I got in like at June 1st or like around that area. It's hard for me to find any patterns in this one.
Yeah, this is the problem with a lot of Chinese stocks, because there are often Bob is a good company.
Yeah.
And it should be priced a lot higher than it is. It is way underpriced. And if China can get the whole political situation sorted out, then this would be worth a lot more. But what you're betting on here really is you're not betting on BABA, you're betting on China. Will the Chinese government, the CCP, get it together? And more. So the risk in this stock is all geopolitical. So that makes technical analysis almost irrelevant. Adding to the irrelevance, well, I mean, there is a level here at around 80, of course. But sort of adding to that is, this level. Whoops, what I was seeing. Oh yeah, there it is up there. There. Okay. This level is this 80 area. For the most part, goes way back until 2015, 2016.
Yeah.
We did have a touchdown here in COVID. Oh wait, what's that? Oh wait, no, sorry. Earlier this year. Well,
situation with China, I think everything will be more calmed and settled after October 16, because that's actually a big important date for China, since to determine like if the current prime minister 2 weeks ago.
Right. They do that every. It's not every.
It's every 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe it's every 5 years. And
has it been 5 years since they voted him leader for life, kind of thing?
He's done 2 terms already. He's done 2 terms already. So this is going to be his 3rd term. Do this thing where he's trying to be the president for until when he decides to retire, pretty much.
Right.
Yeah.
And which is not.
Right, post modern China, pretty much. That's correct. Yeah, so I think everything would kind of be settled down, a little bit more settled down after that.
Do you think there's a chance that they wouldn't vote him in for a 3rd term?
I feel like the vast majority thinks that he's going to serve a 3rd term.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my expectation as well. I don't see any I don't see any chances of him stepping down, because right now, looking at the Chinese government, in China,
yeah.
I mean, I don't mean to get political or anything, but it's not really about the COVID. It's more so like him trying to
right.
the population. It's not really about COVID, in my opinion.
I would, for the most part, agree with you. But I mean, they're paying such a price for that.
It is.
What do you need to control the population so much?
Yeah, and
the economy was doing better.
Yeah, and you can see the effects of what they're doing, towards the world, like the rest of the countries too. Like I feel like that kind of led to inflation as well, and all the supply chain issue with China doing this, and that's affecting the rest of the world. Yeah. And that's what a lot of people are discussing too. But I mean, I don't know, but that's just what we're thinking.
Yeah. So October 16th is when we find out if he gets voted again, or is when the election.
Historic, like I just posted a link in the chat, and there's a news article. There's a new article about it. So it talks more about it in there. Yeah, it goes into like details.
Congress or something, isn't it? Let's see. Okay. Good enough.
Yeah. So yeah, basically they do re-election every 5 years, but
okay.
Yeah.
Take a look at that. Cool. So I found that was excellent. Thank you, Ken.
Thanks, Ken.
Yeah, no problem.
Just hopefully you found that.
I know that like buy the dip mentality, but it's like I don't want to just keep buying it and it just goes to 60.
It just goes lower. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it has trouble holding support.
Right.
We're coming into support again. Move that up.
It's crazy how right now the price is lower than its IPO.
Yeah, for sure.
And like with the progress that the company has made, it just doesn't seem reasonable at all.
It's much of money they eat, right? They paid their
exactly.
Whatever you want to call it, but I mean their earnings are good, a little all over the map. Then the numbers are up and down a little bit more so than you'd like. Actually, really good.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, I own this too, and I'm hanging on to it, and I'm not liking what's happening. Every time I think we're out of the woods, then we turn down again. This time, now it's finally going to go, and then it just doesn't, right? So again, here we are. We go much lower than here. You finally capitulate, and then it just turns and goes up.
Right.
So it's such a hard one. I really think you have to play this, and you are an investor in this, so you have to play it on the fundamentals. So maybe you try and hang on for that, and see if there's a change in the political headwinds. There's so much other geopolitical rhetoric going on between the U.S. and China that really just needs to stop. These people just all need to chill out. And sorry, I don't want to get political either.
Yeah, everyone does just need to chill though.
I don't say anybody's acting like an idiot, even though maybe they all are. But yeah, just chill, guys. We're better off all working together. When everybody's economies were working kind of for each other, world to live in, when that was going on, and a more prosperous world, I think. Not without its problems, without a doubt, but this what's going on right now, geopolitically is ridiculous, and this is what leads to war.
Yeah, and with China and Taiwan too, I feel like that hasn't really settled down yet.
Yeah, and that's, you know, that, and that's another thing that kind of scares me a little bit about Xi. And if there's nobody to step up to replace him, because he's made it pretty clear that it's his goal. It seems like the kind of to achieve his goals.
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, I'd much rather see that guy gone and somebody else to replace him. Taking China, you know,
I think
backwards.
So too. Yeah, but
yeah, it's a shame because there's so much potential there. And in the West, I think we really need to understand that and realize that, you know, we should really try to be on board with China for the future, because China is going to be leading the world technologically at some point. They're getting really close now. I mean, the stuff they're doing with the speed with which they're doing things with their space. I mean, they have, you know, how kilometers of high-speed rail do they have? And how much does the United States have? Does the United States have any?
No, I don't think so.
Crazy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I've been
I saw a documentary on it a week and a half or so ago, and how and you know, people were talking about how they would much. Yeah,
it's a shame. I feel like all these geopolitical stuff going on, I feel like it's taking a step backward.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, fingers crossed that one day, you know, we can get some decent leaders to have.
Chinese stock in the past decade. I can't recall another stock that was more stable than Baba, right? A Chinese stock.
Yeah, I mean, well,
it's the best growth. Yeah. It didn't make its way upwards. Yeah. What was this peak? 320. What was the peak of Baba? Was it $320? Yeah, about 320, right?
315.
315. Wow.
Yeah, so we're back below the IPO in this.
Yeah.
Here, why don't we move to a weekly on a couple of these? Be easier to look at. Look a little better. There we go. Yeah, below the IPO there.
Yeah,
I would say JD is probably a little more stable than Baba.
Past few years.
What else? Is that right? 10-cent?
Oh, 10-cent? Yeah, that's another one.
I can't remember the ticker on that one.
Yeah, I can't remember either. Oh, it's
TCE. Oh. I have a hard time. Yeah, I mean, this is another one that is, you know, yeah, this is maybe the Chinese stock. However, you know, I mean, this, you know, if you had gotten this way back in 2009, you would have done awesome.
Oh my goodness.
30s. So
would have 100x'd.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But you wouldn't like that move from 100 down to 30.
Definitely not. Yeah.
But this looks like, yeah, see, it broke that support. And then we got support down, you know, down in here around 34. It's getting pretty close to that. this might be worth keeping on a long-term kind of watch. Take a look at this thing every few weeks or something. See if it bounces off of, remember, we're looking at a weekly chart here. So see if it bounces off of this area. Around there, 34-ish. All right. Is there anything else, guys? Any others you want to look at? Or yeah, thanks, guys. As always, some good discussions at the end. So anybody who's not, if you're hanging out to the end of these, you know we always have good discussions here. But if you're not, you're missing out. Anyway, we'll be doing this again next Wednesday. So hope to see you guys there, and enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks for coming out.